Hello, P2 students. If you would like a tutorial on how to use graphical analysis, you came to the right place. So remember, for how to find graphical analysis, I always just search this lower button with the search button, say graphical analysis or even graphical, and it'll pop up as long as you downloaded it when we did it in class. Once that you have it, it should look like this or open up, right? And then we need to probably remind ourselves of where a few things are. One, if you do not see this data table, you just need to click up here in the upper right hand corner. Once you click it, it'll say data table, and look, it miraculously appears. Once you have your data table, you need to figure out what data to put where. Remember that you have hopefully collected the average of 3 different trials. You've collected at least 5 different changes in your variable. So in your independent variable, you've changed at least 5 different things by maximizing the domain. And then you did each of those different changes at least 3 times. So 3 trials, you've taken the average for those trials. We're putting the average in these data sets. How do you figure out if it's X? Remember X, according to dry mix, this is going to be your independent variable. Your independent variable is the one that you decide to change and that you decide to actually measure, right? So whether it's you're looking at the time it takes something to happen, or you're going to see how much snow there is, or you're going to give plants more food or less food, that's your independent here. That goes here. In order to change my name instead of X, right, I would just do my column options, and the name, let's put independent, why not? Variable, sometimes called IV. Right? Your units are whatever you want, but it's super important to do the units there for whatever you're applying, right? Same thing then the Y. Our dry mix with that Y tells us that our dependent, or the one that responds, is going to be our Y. We can go to column options again, type our name, and in this case we're going to say our dependent. You, of course, write whatever your dependent is. So don't actually write dependent, write whatever you created or made your dependent variable. Then you just throw in some numbers here. You might notice that they go left to right, which is kind of annoying, but it shouldn't matter. Right, these are random numbers if you haven't noticed. And sweet. So after that, you see these dots, right? You see these different dots. They hopefully are dots, because if they're not, you're going to have to go to this lower left-hand button right here. Oops. It's drawing a prediction. Oops, I accidentally hit the wrong thing, and now this is in my way. Here we go. Let's move it. I can predict it. Great, that's kind of fun. I'm going to cancel that, though. If you hit this button and edit graph options right down here, you want to make sure it says points and not lines. So unclick the lines if it's there and make sure it's points. You can also make sure you always have a title for your graph. So this versus that, or whatever you are comparing, figuring out your data goes there. So now that we have points and not lines, we're going to go back to this thing that actually looks like a line graph, right? Because it tells you what type of graph you want. We're going to apply a curved fit, and in this case, we're probably most likely going to be using a linear graph curved fit. We might be able to get into, later we're going to get into some of these other ones, but for now, just skip with the linear fit, because remember we want mx plus b. Once we apply it, you'll notice that we have this line. If you ever can't see it, because I can move this with my fingers and then it looks really weird, and you might be like, where did this even go? I can't see it. Remember this handy dandy microscope, which you hit it, and magnifying glass is what it's called, and it'll bring you back to your graph. What's really important about our GA is that this is going to tell us our mathematical model, which is y equals mx plus b, but in your math model, you will never have these letters in there. What you're going to put instead is whatever your independent variable was, right? You're going to, of course, we just already said our independent is our x, our dependent is our y. So you would write whatever your dependent variable is here, that and the units. It's going to equal. M, remember, is the slope of this line, which you don't have to figure out because it tells you right here what your slope is. You can write this number down, but remember to add the units. The units for any slope is just your rise over run. And remember, your rise is over here with your y-axis, so whatever the units are there, which in this case is important, and our run, or our, our x value is super, so our units here would be m, is that 1.77, and it's important over super, or divided by super. Must put those units. The x, we're not going to put x, we're going to write what our independent variable was, whatever you chose to figure out in your experiment, or were told to. And then plus b, b will always be also given to you, and that's of course just your y-intercept, so wherever that kind of comes together. So hopefully that's a quick tutorial on how to use your GA. Please come see your teacher or somebody up there. Oh, and make sure you change this menu as well. When you save as, save your name, and make sure you save your name and whatever your experiment was. So when you send this to your teacher, they know what you were looking at. All right, hope this helps. See you later.